welcome back to another video, and today I'll be discussing the newest makeup announcements and releases. Welcome back, and today I'll be discussing the newest makeup announcements that have been made in a couple of weeks' time. And I'm surprised that we're having so much to talk about. Like, I was kind of thinking that we were now moving into the slower phase where brands are kind of like chilling because they've just had their summer launches and people might still be a bit iffy about the fall launches. We do actually have one fall launch in this video. And there's actually one holiday launch, but this is a channel where I have a rule that we don't talk about holiday launches until at the beginning of like August, so I'm gonna be keeping the holiday launch in my new makeup folder, and then when we hit August then I'm gonna be talking about it, but it's too early. But anyway, but it seems it's not a slow season. There's like a lot of, for some reason we're having a lot of blushes in this one, and I don't understand why are we still on this blush train. I was kind of thinking that we were gonna move to highlighters or contours this year, but yeah, a lot of blush ahead. But there's been a couple of interesting also launches, and I am filming this on Saturday, which is a bit exceptional. I usually do my filming on Sunday, so there is, for example, one launch from GlossGods that they're kind of still sneak peeking the stuff. So I'm probably gonna do is that what they have probably like released the whole launched the whole collection once I have done it. Like before, will edit this one, so I will add the products that I don't talk about yet because I don't know what they're still gonna be really revealing. So you will be seeing them, even though I still don't know fully as of time of filming what the rest of the products are. But we have some of the products from that launch, so that is how we're gonna do, because I am filming this earlier because of some scheduling things. But anyway, let's start talking about the launches, because as I said, there is quite a few things to discuss. Okay, and let's get my phone out and start talking, because my gosh. So first, something that I am very confused about, and I think I'm not the only person, and this is because this looks something that I think we might have seen like during 2017 and 16. We saw some concealers in this kind of packaging. So ABH has released two new Magic Touch Cream Blush and Lip Trios. So this is supposed to be a multi-use product, but I do think most people would use this as blush. So there's like, theoretically there's nothing wrong. Like, we have three trios, which is good because one of these is clearly geared towards lighter skin tones, then there's one for medium, and then there's one for like deeper skin tones. So that's good, but it's just something about the packaging, like considering that this is ABH and these probably aren't going to be a cheap product. But I do have to say these kind of look pretty like cheap in terms of packaging, and this packaging altogether, because I remember there used to be like a lot of concealer or correcting shades used to come in this kind of packaging, so something in this just screams pretty like old and cheap, and not something that I would be paying ABH prices for. If you are, oh god, this is gonna be $38 US, so these are probably gonna be around 40 euros. Yeah, I'm not gonna be spending my money on this one. So these are going to be available on June 23rd, so actually by the time this video goes live, they should at least be available on Sephora and most likely in other ABH retailers. So Estee Lauder is apparently redoing like their whole range of like eyeshadow, quads, cheek and lip products. I actually did notice this because most of the Estee Lauder, for example, quads and blushes were actually on sale on our department stores, and this was in like all of our department store chains, so I was kind of guessing that this was a sign that they're probably redoing this. So this goes to the category of fall launches. Actually, I lied in the beginning, we might have more than one fall launch, but anyway, so this is going to be launching on fall, and they seem to have changed. There's like a bit of a different pattern. The blush shades do look a bit similar what they already had, so I'm a bit I think it might be that this also could be that they were forced to reformulate for some reason. There also seems to be some lipsticks though, which are quite reddish and brown leaning, and then we have the quad. Also some of the quads do look quite similar to what they had before. Again, there's this sort of new pattern in the pan, but otherwise, yeah. I would say this is meh. Estee Lauder is not a brand that I like to buy from anyway, but this looks very similar to what they had before, so I'm suspecting that they had to redo this due to formulation reasons or something else. So Colourpop is releasing a Glossy Stain It Pop It. I believe this might be a HydraPop Glossy Lip Stain in 7 versatile shades. I do think there might also be a foam case coming out with these ones, but I do feel that the foam cases are pretty gimmicky, that brand seems to be doing with the glosses now, so we are not talking about that in my video. These sort of glossy lip stains have been pretty trendy, though I do have to say I would look into K-beauty brands first for if you are considering buying these, because K-beauty has been doing these for years. But if Colourpop is something that's accessible to you, I do think these should already be... yeah, these are already available, so you can already get these on Colourpop website. Colourpop is quite difficult to order these days, at least to Europe. So for me, it's a skip, but if it is something you're into, these are already available. Okay, then something that did catch my eye. So Lisa Eldridge has launched her sort of summer collection. So this is the Desert Gleam collection, and there seems to be 3 lipstick shades and then a new palette. And palette looks awfully like a mini version of the Anastasia Yuka. I don't think I'm the only one who has called this the mini version of Yuka, but this definitely did caught my eye. Lisa Eldridge, I do know it's a very highly ranked luxury brand among at least sort of luxury makeup reviewers here on YouTube. For me, it's a brand that's never appealed to me due to the fact that while the products are quite nice looking, a lot of them are also quite pricey, and it's a brand that I would have to order online. I can't get it anywhere in stores, and for the prices that her products are going for, I would like to kind of see things in store before buying. But if you are a Lisa Eldridge fan, I do think that this is already, this is also already available. So if you're interested either of the lipsticks or the palette, you can already get this from her website. So e.l.f. is extending their line of products, so they are having 3 new of these sort of bite-sized palettes. I was already thinking that was e.l.f. gonna drop this because we haven't seen a new variation of these palettes in a while. These are all very neutral leaning. I was honestly looking at a couple of these thinking that didn't they already have these. I do have to say the sort of like reddish peachy palette that is in the sort of upper... it's in the upper section of this image that I'm going to be showing to you. I was kind of thinking that some of the shades are... that this looks to have pretty similar shades within one palette, so it looks to be a bit monotone. I'm not in a need of these bite-sized palettes. I mean, I have heard that these apparently can be quite of a decent quality if you're balling on a budget, but for me, none of these have ever appealed to me, so this is a skip for me. But if you have been waiting for new e.l.f. bite-sized palettes, these should already be also available, at least in States, quite soon. So Viseart has launched their summer palette, so this is the Midsommer Lumière Étendu. I do have to say, for a summer-themed palette, this actually reminds me more of fall when I look into this. I have seen like some real-life images, and it seems that in like daylight this isn't as, because in this promo image this looks to be very like almost very sort of deep like reddish leaning brown palette, but then I have seen some people like showing this in daylight and it doesn't seem to be as sort of rich looking as it looks in the promo image. So maybe if you're considering buying this, maybe look some review videos first, just in case that you're not thinking you're gonna get a deep warm rich neutral palette and then you get something actually lighter. This is nice, but I definitely don't need this one. I do think this is appealing to my neutral lover heart, but I have plenty of these kind of shades. But if you're in a market for a new warm tone Viseart palette, then as I said, look for reviews, because I do think this is looking a bit different when people are actually showing this on their sort of on their channels. But yeah, for me this is a skip. So Huda is also coming out with some lip stains, and then we have 3 new glosses to her line. So I do think the stain pencils, they kind of look interesting, but I don't think this would be an applicator that I would like, because it is quite of a, how should I say, it is quite of a wide tip that these have, so getting a precise line would be a bit more difficult, and I actually, with my lip pencil kind of products, I do appreciate having precision. The lip gloss shades seem to be this sort of like, I think she's advertising these as jelly glossies. These do look kind of like a summer-esque product, so I do think the glosses kind of fit the summer theme, but these stain pencils are a skip for me. This isn't a lip product that I generally like, so it is a skip. Catrice has now launched, I think, 4 or 5 summer collection. I think we are at the like somewhere around 4. So this is another new Catrice limited edition collection. This is called the Midnight Sun. I do have to say, in terms of packaging, this is actually pretty cool. Like some of these limited edition packaging haven't been that good, but I do think this kind of fits the theme. But I really don't need any of the products in this one, and I'm very confused. Why are we getting so many? Why are we getting so many limited edition launches? Because I do think that by the time we get to July, we should start seeing sneak peeks of their sort of fall, summer sort of like update to their permanent line. So I'm confused about the amount of limited edition products, because we are soon gonna see the update to their staple line products soon. But if you like these products, I have at least seen these already available on Boozy Shop, which means that they're probably also available also on other Catrice retailers. Okay, then the first of the, I think this is the first blush. No, we already had the ABH one, so the second one. So Charlotte Tilbury is hopping on the train with stick blushes. So we did get this from Dior, and now we have from Charlotte Tilbury stick blushes. It's definitely not my favorite method of applying blush. I do have a few in my collection, and I seem to always have the issue of blending those out. I do think for Charlotte Tilbury the shade range is pretty decent. I was kind of eyeing, there was the one sort of pinkish, pink rosy shade that's in the sort of upper part of the image, but this is very expensive. I do think these are like around, I think these were around 40, somewhere around 40 euros. So for 40 euros for a stick blush, it would really take convincing me to buy, because this isn't my favorite form of applying cream blush. But if you love Charlotte Tilbury and want to get these are already available. You can get these on her website, and I did see these also on Cult Beauty. Benefit is coming out with a foundation, and it was about time. I was actually a bit confused because they do have like quite a bit, because they have a concealer. Actually, do like the Benefit, what's it, Boying Concealer. It was in a sort of quite funny packaging, but anyway, because they have powder, they have setting spray, and they have concealer. So I was pretty confused that why do they have foundation, but now they have one. So this is the POREfessional foundation, and what is this actually promising? Visibly smooth skin and blurs pores, medium buildable coverage, natural matte finish, 24-hour long wear, waterproof, transfer proof. So I think this is going to be one of those satin matte foundations. I would really have to see this in store to determine that how is my current skin type liking this, because this can either be very good for my skin, or if it's if it's actually more of a true matte finish, then this probably is going to be something that's not going to suit me. The POREfessional in general, I have tried the primer. When I was still having an oily skin, the POREfessional primer was actually pretty good primer for me. However, with my current skin type, not so much. And yeah, the setting spray in this line is actually nice, and that I do still like. Yeah, not something that I'm gonna run out to buy, but if you have been waiting for a foundation from Benefit, then this should be coming to the market quite soon. We could have gone the ABH launches in one. I'm sorry about this one. So we have some more ABH, and this is summer. So I do think that at least these ones, I do think this looks more to be in terms of package design in the category of the like corresponding with the prices that ABH charges. So ABH is going to be launching aside from the odd looking blush trios, there's going to be bronzers, and I do think there is a Hydra priming SPF hydrating face primer. Yeah. I do have to give them credit. The bronzers do seem to have kind of an interesting undertones, because some of one of the deeper ones has kind of a more purplish undertone, and I do actually like the fact that the fair bronzer seems to have pretty neutral leaning undertone. As someone who has a fair, cool, rosy undertone, I actually do appreciate the fact that there is a more neutral leaning bronzer. Could I be interested in this one? I'm still like eyeing that if the contour stick that the ABH launched. I do think that has actually launched in our country. I just haven't bothered buying it, because I certainly had my fair share of makeup to try, and because it's ABH, it is quite expensive. So how much is the bronzer gonna be? $38 US. So again, I do think the bronzer is gonna be similarly priced as the blush trio in Europe. So it's gonna be around 40 euros, and then because the primer is around 48 US, so that's gonna be like, what, around 50 euros. 50 euros for a hydrating primer. Get out of here. That's hourglass pricing. So with the hydrating primer, that's definitely a no-go. The bronzer, kind of tempted about this one, but we shall see. We all know that I have plenty of bronzer, so this isn't like a must for me, but I do appreciate the fact that the bronzer has a more neutral looking undertone to it. Then there's apparently a mystery palette from Unearthly Cosmetics. So this is the Meet the Shadowsculpt Volume Ghoul Garden palette. So this is a green lovers palette, and I do have to say, just based on the video, this is truly a very sort of green. I do like the tones of green that this one has, so this is definitely gonna be a product that is not for me because it's a majority green palette, but I do like the fact that we have some more like yellow toned greens and then we have some more true greens in this one. So I do like the versatility that we have for this one, and because it's Unearthly, there is probably gonna be some special shimmers in this one. So if you love greens and you love indie palettes, I do think this is gonna be something that, yeah, you can order this from Unearthly's own website. It's in pre-order and it should ship in July. So if you are interested in, you can go to their website and order this one. So this is another collection from Guerlain. However, I'm a bit unsure, is this a summer or fall collection, because some people are, in some posts this was categorized as fall collection and some people are saying it's a summer collection. I would say in terms of colors, I would say this is actually more of a fall collection if you especially look at the eyeshadow quads. So within this one there's going to be 2 quads, there's going to be 2 variations of their terracotta bronzer. Guerlain should really start thinking that there are more than, at least they have 2, because in their summer launch I think they only had one variation of the terracotta bronzer, and we all know that one shade of bronzer isn't going to cover everyone. But I don't think the 2 is still not enough, especially from a high-end luxury brand that has the resources to do more shades. Then there we have a new variation of meteorite pearls, this is basically a sort of finishing powder. I'm a bit unsure, is this a new shade or is it just a new packaging? I do kind of like the packaging of this one. And then we have a new lipstick with a new casing. This is a skip from me. Guerlain is not a particular brand that gets me excited for, but I do like some of the packaging in this one. It's quite nice. Fenty is coming out with a sort of limited edition and pretty summery shade in their Gloss Bomb Lip Luminizer. So this is in the shade Mango Margz. I'm a bit unsure how you're supposed to pronounce the last part of this one. So this is apparently exclusive at Ulta Beauty. I'm a bit unsure, is this going to be a shade that's later on going to come to also other Fenty retailers, but so far this is on Ulta exclusive. I do have to say, this is actually kind of a good summer release, this sort of very punchy orangey mango shade. I'm sure this is gonna be a very sort of, like, this is a pretty good item to sort of put in the, especially at the end part of the sort of check-in in the makeup store, because it's summery and the lip luminizers, they aren't the most expensive product that you can get from makeup stores. So I think a lot of people would just throw this in their bag when they see this at the checkout aisle. But yeah, I have plenty of Fenty luminizers, so I obviously don't need this one, but if you've been looking for a mango shade orange gloss in this line, this is at least available in States in Ulta. So this is a fall release, so Suqqu is going to be releasing a new line of base makeup, then there's a new quad, and then I think there's liquid, are those actually concealers or liquid eyeshadows? Yeah, it's a concealer. So in this collection there is a Suqqu Skincare Cream Tint, so it's the one in the tube. There's SPF 38 in it. Then we have a creamy cover concealer, so those are the tubes you're seeing in the image. It's a very lacking shade range if these are all the shades. Suqqu is a, and you can write me in the comment, it's a Japanese brand, right? Yeah, so yeah, I was right. So Suqqu is a Japanese luxury brand, I did remember it correctly. But about the concealer range, so if they're gonna bring this to the Western market, I do hope they're gonna bring more concealer shades, because the concealer shades that I'm seeing the image, these are already very pale pasty, which is good for a person like me, but not good for the rest of people who aren't colored like me. Suqqu is very expensive. This is definitely not something that I'm gonna buy. I do have to give them credit, this concealer packaging looks very cool, but considering their pricing, I would also kind of expect that the packaging is gonna be luxurious. But this should be available somewhere around fall. So Dior is continuing doing their, sort of redoing their whole backstage line. So they are redoing there's backstage glow maximizer palettes, so these are highlighter palettes. I'm a bit unsure about the fact that are they actually releasing new shades or is this actually just reformulation or repackaging, because I have been because for me the palettes that I have seen look to be the shades that they have already had previously. I do have to say the new packaging, it is much better than the previous one. It kind of looks more of a high-end, even though this backstage line is actually a bit more inexpensive than Dior's mainline makeup. But yeah, I don't need a new highlighter palette, but if you've been sort of looking, if you are looking to buy these sort of in a revamped variation, I do think these should be coming in. The post says around August 25, so after the summer. So GlossGods is going to be having a very big launch, at least based on just what I'm seeing. So they are going to be having this sort of, what are they calling this? I think they're calling this sort of Colorpalooza is what they're calling this one. It had a very odd name, but anyway, within this series, yeah, Colorpalooza. So I think this is sort of a festival inspired, I think it was called. So far what we have seen from this is the launch of 2 palettes and then some sort of like individual gems, but I do believe there still might be more palettes at least coming. So the first palette that they have revealed at the time when I'm filming this is called Sizzling. This is a very warm tone palette. This would have actually been the palette that I would have gotten from this line, but I have the Heightened palette from Unearthly from last summer, which is basically almost identical to this one. So we are skipping this for that reason. But if you, for example, missed the Unearthly Heightened palette during last summer, I actually do think this could be a good option if you live in Europe, and I do have to say some of the shimmer shades are looking very pretty. Then they have Dripping, and this is a very like rainbow palette. This is something that I definitely don't need because I have my fair share of rainbow palettes, but if you have been looking for rainbow palette, I do actually think that it's good that this has mattes and shimmers, so you are going to be able to get full looks with this one, but I definitely don't need this one because I have my fair share of rainbow palettes in my collection. And then what they have revealed at the day when I'm filming this one, they have these sort of power gems. So these are like individual gems that you can like apply around your sort of face area, and these come in 4 variations. There is Stage Diver, Moonwalker, Selfie Addict, and Headliner. The individual gems that are going to come in these pots, these are going to be €8.95, and then the eyeshadow palettes are going to be, how much were these? €44.95. So, and I do think, I'm a bit unsure, it doesn't say it, that because if you are able to use influencer codes on these, then you can get a discount from them, but they sometimes limit using influencer codes with their new launches. But I do believe, because I do think for example, in the promo video for these gems, they are sneak peeking also one of the palettes that hasn't been yet revealed. So, as I said, I'm gonna be posting all the palettes and all the stuff that they have launched, because I do think they will be really on this by the time I'm editing this one. And this whole collection with all of these things, I think all of these things, it's going to be launching 24th of June, so by the time this video goes live, we're going to be having the whole collection. It's going to be available on their website. Artius Cosmetics has really revealed their Arcana eyeshadow palette. There was 2 highlighters with this one, but we're just going to talk about the palette. Talking about GlossGods, this looks quite a lot like the GlossGods palette that actually GlossGods launched in the beginning of the year. It was this Aurora Borealis themed palette, and this Arcana palette looks pretty similar to that one. I do think there's also one other indie palette that I remember that has had this similar color story. So yeah, but this is this sort of like pink lilac combined with greens. I do actually appreciate the fact that the Arcana palette, this one actually has also a bit like more neutral shades to sort of balance out the more colorful ones. But this is the sort of color family that I don't gravitate towards that much. So for me, this is a skip. But if you like Artitude Cosmetics and you like this palette, you can actually order this on their website. The pricing is gonna be around €52, so in pounds it's gonna be like around, I think, $60. So Makeup Revolution is at it again, duping brands, and they have now gotten, like, definitely Makeup Revolution, they've been now better in the fact that they are no longer doing these trade out copies that they used to do, though I do think we're getting a bit close with this one. So Revolution is coming out with the gloss stick. I think they're advertising this as a lip gloss, but you could also call this a glossy lipstick. You probably, when you saw the image, were thinking that wait, they aren't those like the Fenty gloss stick glossies, and I do think that's the inspiration behind this one. I do have to give them credit. I actually like this color range quite a lot because it has it's sort of very this pinkish, neutral, reddish leaning line of lip products, and this is the kind of lip product that I like. I don't usually like any like funky shades with my lip colors. I'm gonna be honest, I do think this could be actually something I would like to get. I think the lip glosses go around, I think it was around like 80 euros or something, so in pounds it's gonna be a bit less, and in US dollars I think it's gonna be like $9 each. So if you don't want to go and spend your money on the Fenty gloss sticks, then this could actually be something to look into. They seem to have a couple of more shimmery ones, and then most of them are just ones that have color and have this sort of glossy sheen. Because Fenty, they originally released the ones that have just like opaque color and then the glossy sheen, and then they later on, I think it was during this spring, when Fenty came out with a shimmery variation of this one. So within the Revolution line, I actually checked on their website, there are a couple of shimmery ones, and then there are ones that they don't have the shimmer. These do seem to pack quite a lot of color, so you definitely, I think you do have to like your colorful glosses if you buy one of these. But yeah, these are already available on Makeup Revolution's own website if you want to try these out. Okay, I'm very bad today at covering the brands in one section because it would make my editing a bit easier, but oh well. So apparently we're getting more glossy lip things, so Charlotte Tilbury is also running into the, joining the train of these glossy lip balms that come in a tube. So could we please luxury brands quit doing this, because luxury brands, they're gonna charge luxury brand prices for lip products that are in plastic tubes. I don't like that one. I would very much want to have my luxury brand products to have the packaging to go with the pricing. Anyway, so far it seems that I think there is, how many shades are these? 5 or 6, I think. I mean, the packaging looks kind of cute, but it's still a gloss in a plastic tube. I can't just get over it. And what is this gonna be? There's gonna be pink watermelon, strawberry, vanilla, coconut water, cherry glaze, pure peach, and candy fig. These are gonna be available on July 15th, so it's gonna be a bit of a while before these are coming out. But these are called the Unreal Lips Healthy Glow Nectar Oil. So I think you can get the similar product from quite a lot of brands. Drugstore brands have done their variation of this one. Even high-end brands have, like other high-end brands have their variation of this one. So I think you have quite a lot of options to go through. I wouldn't necessarily pay Charlotte Tilbury prices for this kind of product, but if you are a huge Charlotte Tilbury brand, this is going to be available during June. But yeah, that was actually the last product we had for this video. What were my favorite launches from this one? I do have to say the GlossGods launch, but I really think that there's still going to be more palettes coming to that launch. But I do kind of like that they are now doing this sort of 10 or 8 pan. I think there's 10 or 8 shades in these rectangular palettes that they did the first one in their holiday launch last year. So I think I'm gonna be still waiting to see the rest of the palettes that are there gonna be more palettes in that one. But if there isn't any more of the palettes, or the palettes color stories aren't something that I like, then it's gonna be a skip for me. But the GlossGods Festival collection was kind of something that did caught my eye. But other than that, I think my wallet is quite safe currently. There isn't very much like launches that are gonna be that have been made me that, oh, I must get those. And as I said, a lot of blush for some reason. And the ABH bronzer, it's gonna go to the back burner, that if I am able to get that on offer at some point, then maybe I could get it. But other than that, not very much excitement in terms of the newest announcements. Comment down below what you think about the launches. Is there something that you're gonna get, or was it also a bit meh for you? If you like this video, push the like button and subscribe to the channel, ring the bell button if you want to get notifications for future content. You can also find me with the same nickname, Makeup Hedgehog, on Instagram. I hope I can see you in another video. Bye bye!